my friends, and welcome to this edition of Off Base. It's your girl, Lauren Gardner, LG Red, coming to you from studio here at MLB Network, and our own Xavier Scruggs joining us from his home studio in Tampa, Florida. X, how you doing on dad duty this week?
On dad duty, nothing better than being at the crib, talking to baseball, and somebody's paying me for it.
Hey, that's all you could ask for. You are absolutely living the dream, my friend. You know who else is living the dream as we get set to move the needle here? One Paul Skenes and probably Mark DeRosa, who's the manager of Team USA, this upcoming WBC. This roster is going to be stacked. Check this out. Earlier this week on MLB Central, Paul Skenes announced his commitment to pitch for Team USA in this upcoming WBC. The honor for Skenes, a former U.S. Air Force Academy cadet, is one he does not take lightly.
You're a member of the military. What was it like when you got the call to potentially be a member of the collegiate national team?
Possibly the biggest honor of my life. Obviously, I walk around and I kind of see it like when I go to school, when I wear the uniform, it's kind of like me representing the military, representing the nation as a whole. And this is kind of an extension of that, being able to wear USA on my chest. And I mean, honestly, I get chills just talking about that.
Hey, a Patriot through and through. Of course, I just mentioned that he was a cadet at the Air Force Academy. Did you even recognize him? That was from a few years ago.
Get that baby face.
I know you don't have like the chin strap, but I mean, it makes sense. And kudos to D-Row for being able to recruit him and get his commitment. Of course, you know, Aaron Judge, the dominoes began to fall. But Skenes, I mean, he's lights out and he's probably one of the biggest names in the game. So this was a huge get.
Well, with the excitement that we saw from the last WBC, I think there's a level of excellence that we're going to need as in Team USA going into the next one. And I feel like with Paul Skenes saying, okay, I want to be a part of this rotation, I want to be a top dog, I think that, you know, not only invites other guys that want that same opportunity, but also I look at our top dog can go against anybody else's, right? Like when you get a number one that can face anybody else's number one, that is the ultimate goal. That puts you in good standing going against any other team. So you don't feel like, okay, we got to outscore this team by a whole bunch of runs because we know maybe our starting pitching isn't going to be as good as the next one. No, that's not an issue. Our number one can go against anybody's number one at this point.
Hey, remember how it ended last time. The teammates going head-to-head. Shohei Ohtani wanted the ball when it mattered most, and he got the job done. So for Team USA, D-Row and the rest of the club, they need the same exact thing. And I feel like that's exactly what Skenes will provide. So it got us to thinking, X. And again, we're going to put our D-Row hat on, just like we did for the lineup earlier in the season, and we're going to come up with our dream rotation. Now, I understand he has a lot of obstacles in his way in terms of, we're talking money, health, contracts, insurance, all these things. We're throwing all that out the window. This is just our dream rotation. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's do it.
Team USA dream rotation. Here we go. We're going 6-man rotation because I think that will take some of the stress off their arms and reduce the innings. So maybe they'll be more likely to commit. But Garrett Crochet, another first-time All-Star last year, great so far in his first year with the Red Sox. Of course, all the buzz around him last season. Hunter Green, how about this? He emerged last year as well. Like he's been behind the scenes, like we've been waiting for him to come out, earning his first All-Star nod. Of course, we know he has the stuff. Logan Gilbert made his first All-Star appearance last year, led baseball in innings with over 200. Paul Skenes, we already unpacked everything he's done. Tarek Skubal, reigning AL Cy Young winner, won the pitching Triple Crown last year. I feel like he was an automatic. And then Zach Wheeler. Now, hear me out here. 2-time All-Star, leads all pitchers in WAR across the board here this decade. Also one of the best postseason pitchers, X, and of course WBC feels like in terms of intensity, the postseason. So Zach Wheeler will kind of be the veteran in that rotation. What do you think?
Yeah, I love that because I think the experience is necessary with some of those young guys that you have. And I like how it is young, right? Yeah. I think about guys like Hunter Green, who's emerging now as a star starter, who's found a lot of success and now locating all of his stuff. I think about Logan Gilbert, who's been just as tough as anybody and has been as consistent as anybody throwing strikes with his stuff. I think there's another Logan that could possibly be on that list as well, and Logan Webb, who's been doing it for quite some time as well, who can be one of the nastiest guys in the game. But I have no issues with your rotation whatsoever. I think Zach Wheeler sometimes is underrated in a sense, just because of the consistency he's had going out there doing the same thing night in and night out. But Damn, that is a nasty rotation,
It's
LG.
ridiculous.
Let's go.
Again, this is the dream scenario. I do not envy D-Row because I know he has so many obstacles to overcome, so many headwinds. And it was Hunter Green and Logan Webb. I was kind of torn between the two, but I'm sure you can kind of interchange some of these guys. I just feel like Green, his stuff is nasty, and Webb's value is in, the season as a whole. I think he has a little bit more stamina.
Yeah, no, I have no issue. I think, obviously the health is the main thing, right? Because it comes down to, it's going to go down to this year, at the end of this year, okay, which guys are still feeling like they can throw the ball. But I think if you have a Paul Skenes at the top of the rotation and looking at other guys that could be like, man, maybe I'm feeling a little tired, but I feel like I can get into this knowing that Paul Skenes will be in this rotation, knowing that, even if it was a Tarek Skubal, depending upon contract stuff, like just seeing some of those names encourages you as a player to say, I don't want to be that one guy that says, nah, I can't go this time, man. Like I'm feeling it from the season a little bit. And everybody understands that. But yeah, how many opportunities are you going to have? Like think about Waino last year was the last time out. Like knowing, hey, this is going to be the last time. And I don't want to have any regrets. So I think that's my thing with this. Okay,
so we're talking about rotation, but there's a whole bullpen, and we know bullpens are the ones that end up winning championships. You put together a dream bullpen.
Yeah, I got the bullpen. You did the rotation, I got the bullpen, and I'm liking some of my names here. Jason Adam doesn't get enough love. He's over there in San Diego after coming from the Rays, nasty. I'm not looking at Mason Miller, young buck, blowing everybody away. Tanner Scott, I need a lefty in that bullpen alongside Josh Hader, who I'm going to have close games for sure. Like the experience with Hader, his ability to go in big game situations, be able to control lefties and righties. I'm all about that. Ryan Helsley, one of the best at closing games down for the Cardinals. Kirby Yates as well. I don't care about the age. If you still locking games down, you're going to be on my squad. Luke Weaver, Lucas Erceg, nasty. All these dudes, some of these dudes underrated, but at the same time, they go out there and just get outs. And I love all of them.
I love that. Like, listen, I went with the young guns for my starting rotation. I saw Yates and I had some question marks, but you're right. 38, what does it matter? We've seen what some of these guys have done well into their 40s. So why not? I mean, you start thinking about some of the best arms on the back end. A lot of them aren't American. I love what you chose here.
That's facts. This is what I thought of with Yates, right? Like, his stuff is getting better at age 36, 37, 38 years old. You looking at the Rangers, they looking at maybe we should have re-signed him because his stuff is just continuing to get better. And it's more of the strikeout stuff. So when you're thinking about someone neutralizing opposing lineups, he's been able to do that for a long time. You know what I was thinking about too, LG, is just this idea that, you might end up having a starter end up being in a relief point. I think about what Shohei Ohtani did last year for Team Japan. Like there might be guys that say, I'm a starter, but I'm willing to come out for, if I need to throw a couple innings out of the bullpen to help our team.
Facing Ohtani for the final out. Let's reverse the narrative.
That's what I'm saying. Like these guys are going to be so amped at this point after what they saw, Trout, Ohtani, Japan, USA. Hey, if you need an inning, I'm going to come in there and do it for you, D-Row. Hey, if he needs a pinch hit, I'll go in there as well. They might need an extra righty. Who knows?
That's exactly what you want from your dudes, especially in this situation. You start looking at the other sports. We saw what happened with the Four Nations face-off with the NHL, and all of the best players for the U.S. and, of course, Canada. They all showed up in, Sweden and Finland as well. So it was so much fun to watch, and I feel like that's been inspiring players across the board in other sports. So I feel like, dudes are going to show up. They're going to show out, and they're going to sign up for Team USA here in the WBC. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited for it. Let's get it.
All right, coming up next here on Off Base, a little bit of extra credit. This guy right here, Schwarbombs for days. X, you're going to break down what makes him so good and a little bit about his maturation, because we all know he's like baseball's dad, right?
Kyle Schwarber leads it off as we go to the bottom of the third. Phil's down one. And a fly ball deep right field. The game is tied. Kyle Schwarber launches a solo home run, his 15th of the year. 6-6 game.
Balls are flying out of this one today.
Aaron Judge has hit one today as well, so they're both at 15 ahead of Corbin Carroll.
I see how this game is going to go. Okay, back and forth.
Kyle starts a new on-base streak.
Time now for a little bit of extra credit. 32 years young, X, and Kyle Schwarber seems to be better than ever at the plate, especially in that DH position. You're going to break down his maturation and what makes him so good.
Yes, and that's the reason why is there's a maturation process. I want to take us back to 2014. He was drafted out of Indiana, number 4 overall. He was the most polished hitter, they said, out of college, and then made it to the big leagues in 15 and had great success. Got hurt in April 2016, but came back for this World Series right here, right? And dominated in that World Series. Think about somebody that has an ACL tear and has to come back and produce in the World Series at a young age. So reminder, keep that in mind. Then Kevin Long, he's been the main focus for now what's happened in that maturation process. You have a great relationship with your coach. He's had amazing relationships, and he's gotten guys to do exactly what you see right there. Slow it down, have your body under control, and there's a reason why he has the most home runs versus left-handed pitchers going into this Friday series. And when you think about left-on-left situations, you have to be under control with your body, and you got to be able to discern pitches very, very well. And that's one thing Schwarber's always done. He's had a great eye. He'll swing and miss like a lot of power hitters, but he has one of the best eyes that you have in swinging at pitches inside the zone. And that's what you see right here. He's tearing up lefties. And when I can have a guy that can bat first or bat fourth in my order, it doesn't matter, give you instant offense or be able to give you the cleanup offense, that gives my team a whole lot of success in totality as an offense. And then think about what he does against fastballs. Those numbers have jumped up immensely, average and slugging percentage, and the best hitters destroy the fastball. He hadn't even really been destroying it the way that he's doing this year. And that's why there's a different level Kyle Schwarber that you see, because he's not missing any of those fastballs. It doesn't matter what location they are inside the zone. He's not just hitting singles with them, he's destroying them over the fence. And when you can take your game up another level against lefties and against the fastball, that's when you see yourself even being better than what you've been previously. And we already know he's had great power. But talking to him this offseason, talking to him this spring training, the focus was on being a better pure hitter, which he knew he had the capability of doing. That's why I remind you of 2014 when he was drafted 4th overall, because he was the best pure hitter in that class at that moment, most polished. He wanted to get back to that, he told me. And recently we've seen that not only against righties, but also against tough lefties. Doesn't matter the situation. Kyle Schwarber is so calm, under control, and so dangerous as a hitter. And we're also seeing him get better now as a full hitter in his best potential.
Yeah, he really is, X. And I remember covering minor league baseball when he was in the minors, and we kept chasing him for like this game of the week, and he kept getting promoted, so we'd miss him week in.
He was in the minors for like a couple of weeks.
That was it. It was rapid and it was quick, but he deserved the ascent that he actually had. So it got us to thinking, and you compare a division rival there in the New York Mets, Pete Alonso. We know he signed that 2-year deal. There's an opt-out clause, X, after 1 year, and we see this dude is absolutely raking this season. We're assuming he'll exercise that clause. So it got us to this question: which potential offseason free agent between these two is more important for the respective team to re-sign? I cannot wait for social media to go off on this, because whichever you pick, they're going to tell you you're wrong.
I don't like this, LG, and I don't like how you put this on me too, because both of these markets are tough. That's what I think of as both markets are tough. It's tough to play in New York, and as well as tough to play in Philly. But I look at what Kyle Schwarber does getting on base. Like, even if you took his power out of play, I think you're still getting a guy that gets on base at one of the best clips in baseball. So I think in a sense, and we've seen with on-base streaks that he's had, there is going to be consistency no matter what, him getting on base, taking the walk. And I think we've seen the value in that game. Just look in our game. Look at what Juan Soto has done recently with his contract by getting on base plus having power. I think that's a different value what we're seeing Kyle Schwarber do taking his game to another level already.
Hey, listen, both have the power. Both are great team guys, right? Both are amazing leaders. Both represent a lot of the right things. Both are animals. Exactly. They're both animals. They are great within the respective communities. I'm going to go on the other side, taking Pete Alonso. I think he has a lot to prove. The chip on his shoulder. We saw what he did this past postseason. And I think at 2 years younger than Kyle Schwarber, he is more important to the New York Mets to re-sign than Kyle Schwarber is to the Philadelphia Phillies. I cannot wait for people to come at me, especially as I'm wearing a Phillies hoodie.
And I'm gonna come at you real quick too. I think we already saw what the Mets did this offseason. So I think it tells us what their thought process is.
Yeah.
Hey, we're okay holding out because we think we might be able to get somebody in replacement.
My gut is telling me that Alonso's early performance this season has changed the narrative and the way other teams and front offices has looked at him. And on that note, X, we have to go to break. Speaking of the beef we're probably having right now, we got more baseball beefs, not just between you and I here on Off Base. How about this? We're breaking it all down because it's Rivalry Weekend here in the majors.
This is where the rivalries are, right?
These teams are stacked with really exciting athletic players.
As a fan, I'm a little nervous.
The intensity, the focus, everything's heightened because of what the games actually mean.
Because there's the history, it brings that energy level up inside the stadium, which brings the energy level up for these players. It hypes you up.
That will have a playoff atmosphere. It'll be electric there.
They're not just good teams, they're exciting teams you want to see play.
Has this rivalry ever been this good?
This is must-see television right here.
He is incredible!
I've been a man, I got the world in the palm of my hand. I've been a story, I can't have a story. I gave him the glory, it's all in the plans. Give me the glory, give me the glory. Rockets are waving their hands. Give me the glory, give me the glory. That was just part of the plan. Give me the glory.
Swing and a miss. It is gone!
What a show!
And this place is going wild.
MLB Rivalry Weekend is wrapping up around the majors, and X, this is what we live for. It's the passion, it's the fire, and frankly, it's the hatred for one another, and the fan bases are fully on board, which I love. It got us to thinking, though, X, about some of the biggest rivalries in baseball over the course of the past couple of decades, and there are some good ones. Baseball beefs, I mean, we had to put a fun Gen X twist on it. Do you want to start with the good one? Red Sox, Yankees, does it get any better than that in the history of not just baseball, but in sports? They go way back. These two do not have any love for each other. And we have a little Veritek and A-Rod there. That's back in 2004. We all remember this one. And this was one for the ages because these two, they meant business. This wasn't just like, oh, clear the dugouts and kind of run out and look at each other. This was for real.
Yeah, they getting after it. And I think like these are the ones that I appreciate when guys not just talking mess, like they ready to back it up.
Yeah.
And we're going to see some blows and whatnot, people getting in there, and you get the bullpens coming from nowhere all the way out the outfield. Like that's when you know it's real. When people that have no business in the fight, they throwing blows too.
Oh, you gotta love it because they're standing up for their teammates and their brothers. I'm sure you have one up your sleeve.
Well, I was thinking about, not necessarily the biggest rivalry, but I always thought of like, Cincinnati and going back and St. Louis, who I played for, and thinking about Brandon Phillips and trying to dap up Yachty, and he's saying something, they start jaw back, but it all kind of stemmed from like the previous day. And then you get the rivalry between Dusty Baker and Tony La Russa, who already had their own type of beef, and guys throwing each other up on the net where fans are right there. Like, to me, I wasn't even thinking about necessarily rivals. I'm like, where are some of the beefs that I miss? Like guys that are getting really into it. And it's not just, the no-namers. No, these are the big dogs. And when the big dogs are doing it, everybody's going to be involved.
Oh, yeah. And then they mean absolute business. Okay, this might be the best or at least most memorable for our generation, but we're going with the Jays and the Rangers, of course, because this past week marked the 9-year anniversary. Rougned Odor, yep, Jose Bautista. It all started with the bat flip, right? The previous postseason. And then that punch, was that like the craziest, hardest landed punch in the history of baseball brawls?
I mean, yeah, that was squared up. And it's funny because we're at a time in which like bat flipping is normal now, right? Jose
Right?
Bautista took one to the jaw for it. Like that don't even make any sense, but it's just like it tells you how heated the game can get when you talk about preparing, backing up your players, but also like thinking about how emotional you can get, right?
Exactly.
During certain moments, you're not even thinking about necessarily showing up the other team, but you're just having fun with it. You're like in the backyard, in the sandlot, just bat flip. Hey, I'm enjoying this. I love it.
Yeah, it was for the love of the game. It was in the heat of the moment in the postseason. And then this brawl takes place in just a regular season game in May. So it also tells you how heated it can get. 162, we get it, but the boys of summer, they never cool off. So that one to me probably stands out the most. But we also have some big ones in the mix right now. I can obviously think of LA and San Diego, and that one's only going to get better. But at the end of the day, we need as many rivalries in baseball as possible because that's what makes it so great.
That's the best part of it is everybody, going at each other. You better hate to lose against your rival. I'll tell you that right there.
Thank you. I get it. You guys can be friends and you can dab each other up in the outfield, but once that game starts, all bets are off. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Off Base. For Xavier Scruggs, our great crew here at MLB Network, I'm LG Red. See you next time.